Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to dive into a really profound question, one that was asked by one of Korea's most famous business leaders. And the answer? Well, it's a surprising one that just might suggest we've been looking for something in all the wrong places. All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to start with this famous unanswered question. Then we're going to dig into the premise behind it, the hidden assumption. From there, we'll get to the big answer, that God is totally open. And then we'll explore this wild idea that God is the universe and what it actually means to see the divine everywhere. Let's get into it. Okay, so our story starts with a real titan of industry, the late chairman of Samsung, Lee Byung-chul. This guy built an absolute empire. But near the end of his life, he posed this one question, and apparently no one could give him an answer that he found satisfying. And this is the question. It's actually two questions in one, and it really gets right to the heart of a struggle that, let's be honest, a lot of us have had with faith. It's not just, hey, does God exist? It goes a step further. It's, okay, if you do exist, why hide? Why not just show yourself? You can feel the frustration in that question, can't you? It's a real challenge. Okay, so this is where things get really interesting. The whole argument from the source material we're looking at today is that this question, as deep as it sounds, is actually built on a huge misunderstanding, that the whole thing starts from a faulty premise. So you can see the two perspectives laid out right here. On one hand, you have the common view, which is the assumption baked right into the chairman's question. God is some separate being out there who is actively choosing to stay hidden from us. But on the other side, a totally different take. The speaker's view is that the question itself is wrong. God isn't hiding. Not at all. All right, so let's get to the answer. And really, it's more than an answer. It doesn't just reply to the question. It kind of blows it up by flipping the whole premise upside down. And here it is, the big idea in one simple sentence. God is not unrevealed. God is open. Think about that for a second. The argument isn't that God is choosing to hide. It's that God is completely, totally, 100% open and revealed. So if we're not seeing it, well, maybe the problem isn't with God. Maybe the problem is with how we're looking. Okay, so if God isn't some hidden being playing hide and seek, then what is God, right? What are we even talking about? Well, this is where the perspective gets really big and it starts to redefine reality as we know it. So according to this source, God, or Hanunim in Korean, isn't a person. It's not some conscious entity sitting up in the clouds. Instead, it's everything. It's the total energy of the entire universe, the single all-powerful force that makes up all of existence. So it's not a creator of the universe, it is the universe. This is probably the most important point to grasp. There's no separation. It's not God and the universe as two separate things. God is the universe. Think of it like this. All of reality, every single thing you can see and touch, the stars, the planets, you, me, it's all the physical body of God in action. It's the tangible stuff that this divine energy is made of. And when you start thinking like that, the divine suddenly becomes something you can actually touch. It's not some far-off mystery. It's right here, right now. It's every cell and particle. It's the stars up in the sky. It's the air you're breathing in this very moment. It's even the ground you're standing on. It is, quite literally, everything. And here's a really powerful way to think about it. The source suggests we should imagine that everything we think of as separate, you, me, a tree over there, a whole other planet, we're not separate at all. We're actually just connected cells, all part of one giant divine body, one single living organism. So, what's the takeaway here? What does all this actually mean for you and me living our daily lives? Let's dive into what it would mean to live in a world where the divine isn't hidden away, but is just out in the open all the time. Well, it completely changes the game for how we search for meaning, doesn't it? Suddenly, you don't need to look for special signs or wait for some big miracle. In this view, the miracle is just existing. The simple fact that you're here and that all this stuff is around you, that's the evidence. The divine isn't something that pops into our reality every now and then. It is the very fabric of our reality. And so that leaves us with one final and kind of provocative thought to chew on. If you really take this idea on board, that everything is divine, the person next to you, the food you eat, the phone or computer you're watching this on right now, if it's all just different expressions of one divine energy, how does that change the way you see the world? What isn't sacred then? That's something to think about.